Hello and welcome to the episode 2 of Quadra+ exclusive. Certified to Succeed. Episode 2, What a Certification Really Means. Welcome to episode 2 of Certified to Succeed, the podcast that helps you gain a clearer view of your professional journey and empowers you with the tools to elevate it. Today, we tackle a statement you've probably heard before, maybe even said yourself: certification. That's just a piece of paper. But is it? Think of every critical milestone in your life: graduating, getting a driver's license, your first official ID, maybe even a passport. Every one of these things is, in the physical sense, just a piece of paper or plastic. But what they represent, that's where the value lies. A certification is no different. It might be a printed certificate, a digital badge, or a listing on a registry. But behind it? It represents hours of learning, focused discipline, verified competency, and professional credibility. In this episode, we'll break this myth down in depth. You'll discover that certification is not just symbolic, it's strategic. We'll explore how certification proves you have the skills to perform, shows discipline, consistency, and commitment, signals credibility to hiring managers, becomes a tiebreaker when experience is equal, and directly influences career mobility, reputation, and earning power. So if you've ever questioned whether a certificate is worth the time or cost, this episode is for you. Let's begin. Breaking the myth: it's not just a piece of paper. The phrase "it's just a piece of paper" gets thrown around far too often when people talk about certifications. It's a dismissive statement, one that overlooks the profound significance that certifications have in today's professional landscape. In this extended discussion, we'll break that myth down, not just in theory, but in practice, by examining the real-world value of certifications through a multifaceted lens: psychological, strategic, academic, professional, and economic. Let's begin with a basic misunderstanding. When people refer to a certification as just paper, they're usually focusing on the physical form: a printed certificate, a PDF badge, a line on a resume. They're missing the bigger picture: what that paper represents. Behind every recognized certification is a journey, one filled with dedication, learning, sacrifice, and discipline. It is not the paper itself, but the process, the accomplishment, and the validation that give a certification its weight. Let's draw a comparison. Would you call a university degree just paper? Would you say that a driver's license, a passport, or a medical license are all just pieces of paper? Of course not. Because these items carry institutional credibility and functional authority. A driver's license means you've demonstrated knowledge of traffic rules and passed a practical test. A passport allows you to cross international borders because it proves your identity has been verified. Likewise, a professional certification tells employers, clients, and peers that your knowledge and skills have been vetted to meet an accepted standard. Let's break this down into several core areas. 1. The symbolism and psychology behind certification. Humans are deeply symbolic beings. We rely on titles, credentials, uniforms, and badges to convey trust. When a person walks into a room with a visible sign of expertise, a medical doctor with MD on their coat, a technician with a Cisco certification badge on their LinkedIn, a construction foreman with OSHA and NEBOSH training, those symbols create immediate psychological trust. Certifications are symbols of competency. They say, this person has not only claimed knowledge, they've demonstrated it to a neutral, objective body. In high-stakes professions, this trust is everything. For example, would you hire a financial advisor with no certifications to manage your retirement? Would you work with an HR manager who's never studied labor law, compensation policy, or conflict resolution formally? Would you trust a project lead on a $1 million build who has no formal understanding of scope, procurement, or risk management? No. Because a lack of certification signals a lack of validation, and that's risky. 2. The journey behind the certification. Let's shift focus from the paper to the path. Earning a certification is not easy. It involves months, sometimes years, of structured learning, self-discipline, and often significant financial investment. It requires balancing personal life, work responsibilities, and study schedules. People study after hours, take time off, fail once or twice, and come back stronger. This journey reveals an individual's grit, growth mindset, and time management skills. These are not soft advantages, they're strategic ones. A person who earns a PMP, SHRMCP, or NEBOSH IGC has demonstrated persistence, resilience, and dedication. Ask any hiring manager or team lead what they value in top-performing team members. You'll hear traits like accountability, self-motivation, and a hunger to improve. The certification journey cultivates and reflects all three. 3. Industry standards and benchmarking. One of the greatest values of certification lies in standardization. In many fields, informal knowledge varies wildly. A person's understanding of safety, strategy, or project planning might be influenced by their past job, geography, or company culture. Certifications solve that problem. They introduce global standards. They ensure that a certified safety professional in the UAE speaks the same safety language as someone certified in Canada, Singapore, or the UK. When you hire a certified human resources professional, you're not just hiring experience, you're hiring someone who has been tested against a widely accepted benchmark. This standardization becomes even more important in multinational companies, government contracts, industries with high regulatory oversight, risk-sensitive operations. 4. Certification versus experience, a false dichotomy. There's a common argument: why do I need a certificate when I have experience? It's valid, but only partially. Experience is invaluable, yes. But it's also subjective. Two people with 5 years of experience may have completely different exposure, accountability, and learning. Certification adds objectivity to that subjectivity. It clarifies not only what you did, but also what you know and how current your knowledge is. Moreover, in fast-evolving industries, like IT, logistics, healthcare, and even HR, experience alone may no longer be enough. What worked 5 years ago might not meet today's compliance standards, safety protocols, or customer expectations. Certification proves you are up to date, not just used to doing things a certain way. 5. Certainty in uncertain times. We live in a world of rapid transformation. Automation is replacing repetitive tasks. Artificial intelligence is redefining skill demand. Entire industries are being disrupted. In such a world, learning agility is one of the most important traits a professional can have. Certifications demonstrate this agility. They say, "I'm not standing still." They show that you've taken steps to reskill, upskill, or cross-skill. In fact, many professionals use certifications to pivot careers entirely, moving from finance to analytics, from HR to coaching, from engineering to health and safety. That little piece of paper becomes a passport to reinvention. 6. Client and stakeholder expectations. Let's also consider client-facing roles. Imagine presenting your services to a new client, a government agency, or an international partner. What gives them confidence in your team? Certifications play a key role here. They are visible, recognizable signals of competence. Many RFPs, request for proposals, even require certifications as part of the bidding process. If you don't have certified staff, you don't get the job. This becomes crucial in construction tenders, legal consulting, financial services, engineering and architecture, healthcare training and education. Certification equals access. It gives your company eligibility. It gives your clients peace of mind. And it gives your team structure. 7. The ROI of certification. Now, let's address the concern that certification is expensive. Is it really? Let's say you invest $1,000 to $2,000 in a certification program. Within a year or two, you qualify for a higher paying role, negotiate a raise, get shortlisted more often for interviews, move into international job markets. Suddenly, the ROI becomes clear. Many professionals report a 20% or greater increase in salary after completing key certifications. Others unlock opportunities they didn't even know existed. This makes certification not a cost, but an investment. Final thought. It's time we stop calling certifications just paper. That statement overlooks the learning, validation, growth, and doors that certification opens. The value isn't in the print, it's in the proof. In the modern workforce, where competition is global, disruption is constant, and skills are currency, certification is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. And the smartest professionals? They know that every piece of paper earned through sweat and study is a ticket to their next level. Let's stop downplaying the effort. Let's start recognizing the power. Because no, it's not just paper. It's everything behind it. Certification as proof of skills, discipline, and credibility. Let's now take a deep, focused look at why certification is one of the strongest, most complete indicators of professional quality today. Certification isn't just a confirmation of knowledge, it's a complex blend of validated skill, tested discipline, long-term credibility, and market alignment. In this expanded breakdown, we will explore certification as a strategic tool, not only for job seekers and employees, but also for business owners, hiring managers, and industry decision makers. 1. Certification as a measurement of proven skill. Let's begin with the most straightforward point: skills. Skills are the currency of work. But how can you prove that you've got them, especially when your resume looks similar to hundreds of others? Certification offers a structured, objective way to validate a specific skill set. A certified public accountant, CPA, for example, hasn't just read about accounting, they've passed an intensive exam, demonstrated mastery in financial reporting, auditing, and regulatory compliance, and committed to ongoing learning. Case in point, let's look at IT. The difference between an IT technician with a CompTIA A+ certification and one without is night and day. The certified technician has proven their ability to troubleshoot, manage networks, and work with current security practices. Employers don't need to guess what they know, the certification spells it out. Skill validation also supports cross-functional roles. A marketing manager with a Google Ads certification signals competence in campaign strategy. A logistics officer with a Six Sigma green belt shows capability in process improvement. In today's fast-paced, interdisciplinary work environment, certification helps people show how they go beyond their job title. 2. Certification reflects discipline and commitment. Beyond skills, certification speaks volumes about the person. Why? Because the process itself is tough. You're not given a certificate, you earn it. Studying for hours, managing your time, practicing mock exams, failing and retrying, all these actions reveal discipline. They show commitment, not just to the certificate, but to long-term professional growth. This is especially important in mid-career roles. Let's say you've been in procurement for 10 years. By now, you've developed habits, routines, and shortcuts. That's experience, but without formal updates, it could also be stagnation. If you pursue a Certified Supply Chain Professional (CSCP) certification, however, you're telling the world you're evolving. You're not coasting, you're sharpening. Discipline also builds resilience. Many candidates fail their first attempt at PMP or NEBOSH exams. But those who return stronger reflect a trait highly prized in leaders: grit. 3. Certification as a pillar of credibility. Certification elevates your professional reputation. In today's digital world, your name often reaches people before you do, through LinkedIn, resumes, internal referrals. What people see next, after your name, is your title and credentials. Having CMA, CFA, or PMP next to your name instantly boosts credibility. It communicates that you meet international standards and that others in your field would recognize and respect your expertise. Let's imagine two professionals applying for a senior finance role. One lists 10 years in finance, and the other says 10 years in finance, CFA Level 2 candidate. The second candidate immediately stands out, not just for commitment, but for alignment with global expectations. In client-facing industries like consulting, sales, or real estate, certifications carry reputational weight. They can be the difference between closing a deal or losing trust. For case studies, certification in action. Let's add some real-life color. Case study A, safety management. Amira is a site supervisor in the UAE construction sector. For 5 years, she's led her teams well but felt overlooked for leadership roles. When she finally pursues her NEBOSH International General Certificate, something shifts. Her employer not only increases her responsibilities, but clients start specifically asking for her by name. Why? Because the NEBOSH name is recognized internationally. Suddenly, Amira isn't just doing safety, she's branded as a safety expert. Case study B, human resources. David has worked in HR for years but struggled to break into strategic roles. He pursues the SHRMCP certification. Not only does it refine his knowledge of labor law and talent strategy, but during interviews, hiring managers immediately highlight the credential. Within months, he lands a senior HRBP position. Case study C, marketing freelance. Rachel is a freelance social media manager. After getting Meta's Facebook Blueprint certification, her rates increase by 40%. Clients don't question her expertise anymore because she holds a badge from Meta itself. These aren't exceptions. These are patterns. Certification builds your brand. 5. Certification as a risk reducer for employers. Let's look at the employer's view. Hiring someone is a risk. Certifications reduce that risk. They tell employers, this person has been tested under pressure. They've demonstrated learning ability. They're up to date with current practices. Imagine you're hiring an operations manager. You have two candidates. One has 8 years of experience. The other has 8 years of experience plus Lean Six Sigma black belt. Which one feels safer? The second. Because the certification confirms knowledge, while experience still leaves room for doubt. Employers are looking not just for smart people, they're looking for proven systems thinkers, compliance-ready operators, and credible leaders. Certification gives a strong first clue. 6. Certification and market relevance. In fast-evolving industries, certifications aren't just useful, they are critical. Think of cybersecurity. Threats change weekly. A candidate with a CISSP certification has had to study encryption, network design, incident response, and legal frameworks. That knowledge has to be current, or they fail the exam. This also applies in tech, healthcare, and even environmental sustainability. Companies are under pressure to demonstrate ESG compliance. Hiring someone with an ESG practitioner certification helps them meet reporting standards and international benchmarks. Without certification, staying relevant becomes guesswork. 7. The tangible rewards. Let's not forget the bottom line. Studies show that certified professionals earn significantly more over time than their non-certified peers. They are promoted faster, shortlisted more often, and enjoy better geographic and industry mobility. A report by PMI found that PMP-certified project managers earn 20% more on average globally. In IT, certifications like AWS, Cisco, and Microsoft can push base salaries by thousands. In industries where trust, documentation, and leadership matter, certification isn't optional, it's the next step. Conclusion. So, what does certification truly prove? It proves that you're capable, committed, and credible. It validates not only your knowledge, but also your work ethic, growth mindset, and alignment with industry standards. Certification isn't a shortcut. It's a signal. To employers, to clients, to colleagues, and most importantly, to yourself. Because at the end of the day, your skills are only as visible as the lens others use to see them. And certification? That's the clearest lens you can give them. Stay focused. Stay certified. Stay ahead. Hiring managers, who gets picked when both have the same experience? Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a hiring manager, a role that requires making some of the most strategic decisions for any organization. You're tasked with finding someone not just competent, but also reliable, forward-thinking, and well-aligned with industry standards. Every hiring decision impacts the team, the company's bottom line, and in many cases, the brand reputation. Now picture this: 2 candidates land on your desk. Both have 5 years of relevant experience. Both have worked in similar industries. Both have received positive feedback from references. But one has a respected, role-relevant certification, and the other does not. Who do you choose? The answer might seem obvious, but let's unpack why the certified candidate usually wins, and why this decision makes strategic sense for hiring managers across industries. 1. Risk mitigation and predictability. Hiring is inherently risky. A candidate may have a polished resume and ace the interview but underperform once hired. Certifications provide an added layer of risk mitigation. They indicate that a third-party, independent organization has vetted the individual's knowledge and skills against industry standards. Consider this: a candidate with a Certified Information Systems Security Professional (CISSP) designation has passed a rigorous exam, committed to a code of ethics, and demonstrated years of work in information security. For a hiring manager, that's not just reassurance, it's evidence. In contrast, an uncertified applicant might still be capable but brings with them more uncertainty. In a world of tight deadlines, high-stakes projects, and client expectations, predictability and credibility are everything. 2. Efficiency in filtering applicants. Hiring managers often receive dozens, if not hundreds, of applications for a single role. Certifications serve as efficient filtering tools, especially in large organizations where applicant tracking systems, ATS, scan for keywords and credentials before a human ever sees the file. A resume that includes PMP certified or a NEBOSH IGC automatically goes to the shortlist. Certifications act as pre-qualifiers, saving time and streamlining the hiring funnel. 3. Industry-specific examples. Let's break this down by industry. Construction and engineering. A candidate with OSHA or NEBOSH certification is preferred over someone without safety credentials, even with the same years of field experience. Information technology. A network engineer with a Cisco Certified Network Associate, CCNA, is trusted to handle configuration and security protocols more efficiently than someone with informal training. Healthcare administration. For roles involving compliance or operations, a certified professional in healthcare quality, CPHQ, signals adherence to industry regulations. Finance and accounting. A certified management accountant, CMA, brings not just accounting knowledge but strategic financial insight. Project management. PMP or Prince2 certification separates career project managers from those who manage projects casually. In each case, certification reflects a specific commitment to the tools, frameworks, and challenges of that profession. 4. Cultural fit and mindset indicators. What many overlook is that certification tells you something deeper: the person's mindset. A certified professional is typically a lifelong learner, process-oriented, committed to excellence, aware of industry changes and continuous improvement. These traits align closely with what hiring managers value most: growth potential, accountability, and adaptability. A non-certified candidate may still have these traits, but the certified one has proof. 5. Hiring for the future, not just today. When managers hire, they're not just thinking about current tasks, they're investing in future potential. A certified employee is easier to promote, onboard into global roles, or involve in cross-department initiatives because they're already recognized as high-potential talent. Let's say you're hiring a junior data analyst. One candidate holds a basic business degree. Another has the same degree plus a Google Data Analytics certificate. You choose the second, not just because they know Excel or SQL, but because their certification shows proactivity. That's someone you can groom for a data scientist role in the next 18 months. 6. Certification and employer branding. Here's a hidden benefit hiring managers are starting to notice: certified hires improve company branding. When you have a team full of SHRM certified HR professionals, PMP certified project leads, or ISO trained quality managers, clients, partners, and regulators view your company differently. You become more audit ready, contract eligible, competitive in tenders, reputable among stakeholders. Hiring certified professionals supports a culture of excellence. And managers are under pressure, not just to fill roles, but to build teams that reflect modern expectations. 7. Multiple hiring scenarios to consider. Let's expand the earlier thought with several hiring scenarios. Scenario A, the public sector role. You're hiring for a government position in procurement. One applicant has 8 years of purchasing experience. The other has 6 years but holds the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply (CIPS) certification. Result? You shortlist the certified candidate. Why? Because government processes are rule-bound. Certification signals readiness to handle compliance, documentation, and auditing. Scenario B, international expansion. You're a UAE-based tech firm expanding to Europe. You need someone to manage GDPR compliance and IT operations. Between two candidates, the one with an ISACA or ITIL certification gets the edge, not because the other isn't smart, but because certification proves cross-border awareness. Scenario C, emergency response hiring. You need to place a safety officer on-site within 48 hours for a high-risk project. You don't have time to screen on-the-job performance. You go with the NEBOSH certified applicant because the certification reduces doubt. 8. The hiring manager's strategic lens. Today's managers aren't just doers, they're strategic operators. They're building talent pipelines, aligning hiring with company values, and preparing for organizational agility. When they choose certified professionals, they're not just ticking boxes, they're building resilient teams, knowledgeable decision makers, mentors for future hires. They're investing in people who are ready now, but also willing to keep learning. 9. Certification in leadership roles. While entry-level certifications matter, hiring managers especially rely on certification when evaluating leadership roles. A person applying for a director-level job without relevant certifications often raises red flags. For instance, a health and safety director without NEBOSH? A finance head without ACCA, CPA, or CMA? An IT security manager without CISSP? In these cases, hiring managers look for credentials to confirm that the candidate has stayed relevant over the years and understands strategic-level application of their discipline. Conclusion: certification tips the scale. When it comes down to the final decision, where two candidates are equal in experience, personality, and references, certification becomes the tiebreaker. It often becomes the reason to hire one person over another. It offers more than technical proof, it reflects initiative, standard alignment, and potential for growth. And for hiring managers, those qualities matter as much as, if not more than, what's listed on a CV. Certification isn't just a piece of paper, it's the edge in today's hiring playbook. Real-world scenario: who would you hire? Let's expand this scenario into a detailed, multi-part exploration of how certifications influence real hiring decisions in different environments, corporate, field-based, and leadership-level positions. This will allow us to explore different dynamics, hiring criteria, and how certification plays an often decisive role. Part 1: Corporate Hiring, the Operations Analyst Role. You're part of the recruitment panel at a global manufacturing company looking for an operations analyst. 2 candidates have made it to the final round. Candidate A has a business degree and 3 years of experience in operations. She's articulate, familiar with process flows, and has worked on optimization projects. Candidate B has a similar degree and also 3 years of experience. However, she holds a 6 Sigma Green Belt certification and recently completed a course on data-driven operations using lean principles. Both perform equally well during the interview. So why does candidate B win? Because she brings something quantifiable, certification that confirms not just her experience, but a standardized, strategic approach to process improvement. That green belt tells you she's trained in structured problem solving. She's probably better equipped to work on your company's upcoming waste reduction initiative. That certification made her future-proof. Part 2: Field-based hiring, construction site safety officer. Now let's switch to a high-risk environment. You're the HR head at a construction firm working on government-funded infrastructure projects. Regulatory scrutiny is intense. You need a site safety officer. Candidate A has 8 years of site supervision experience, says they know safety rules by heart, and has worked on similar projects. Candidate B has 6 years of experience, but is NEBOSH IGC certified and has passed a recent internal audit training module. Even though candidate A has more years on the ground, candidate B gets hired. Why? Because in regulated industries, experience alone is no longer enough. You need proof that the person knows legal compliance, documentation protocols, hazard analysis, and international safety norms. Candidate B has been trained to think proactively and legally. When it comes to managing lives and liability, certifications turn into your insurance. Part 3: Client-facing consulting role. Let's now step into the world of consulting. You run a boutique firm that supports SMEs with digital transformation. You're hiring a technology consultant to help clients adopt cloud-based tools. 2 candidates apply. Candidate A has 7 years of experience working at various IT companies, excellent communication skills, and strong recommendations. Candidate B has 5 years of experience but holds multiple certifications: AWS Certified Solutions Architect, Google Cloud Digital Leader, and ITIL Foundation. Guess what happens in the final discussion? You hire candidate B. Not because candidate A isn't talented, but because your clients need confidence. When they see AWS certified on your consultant's profile, they feel reassured. The certification isn't just for internal credibility, it's for external validation. It helps close deals, onboard faster, and command higher rates. Part 4: Strategic Hiring, Leadership Level Decision. Imagine you're hiring a regional operations director for a multinational shipping company. You narrow it down to Candidate A, 15 years of experience in the industry, 3 of them managing teams across countries. No certifications. Known for operational efficiency and cost savings. Candidate B, 13 years of experience, also has multinational team leadership, but also holds certifications in supply chain management, APICS, and a mini MBA in strategic leadership. You're hiring not just for today, but for leading teams into digital transformation, ESG compliance, and tech integration. Candidate B gets the job. Why? Because certifications at this level signal continuous learning, strategic insight, and alignment with current global business challenges. In leadership roles, certifications aren't about the basics. They're about showing you've stayed relevant. Part 5: Internal Promotion and the Invisible Edge. Now let's look inward. A team of mid-level employees are being considered for an internal promotion to project lead. They all have comparable years of service and similar performance scores. But one of them, quietly over the past year, enrolled in a PMP certification course and just passed. Without hesitation, leadership shortlists this person. Why? Not just because of the credential, but because of the initiative. Certification isn't just a paper. It's a signal of readiness. It says, I care enough about this role and this company to improve myself on my own time. This person becomes a symbol to the rest of the team, someone who didn't wait for opportunity, but prepared for it in advance. Key takeaway across all scenarios. In every case above, experience mattered, but certification sealed the decision. It wasn't always about the candidate with the most years worked or the most confident pitch. It was about the one who had backed up their skill set with validation, had the right tools for the future, and had made an effort to grow. Certification is never the only factor, but it's often the differentiator. For hiring managers, it reduces guesswork. For teams, it raises the standard. For clients, it builds trust. And for professionals, it opens doors that experience alone can't always unlock. Whether you're seeking to lead a team, support clients, manage compliance, or build your personal brand, remember, in the critical moment of decision, certification speaks louder than opinion. Let's take this even further with a grounded real-world scenario. Imagine you're a senior HR officer at a multinational logistics firm. Your company is expanding its operations to handle more international shipping, and you need a compliance officer who can oversee the legal and operational standards across multiple jurisdictions. Two candidates make it to the final round of interviews. Candidate A. 10 years of logistics experience. Excellent references. Strong personality and confident communication. No certifications. Candidate B. 10 years of logistics experience. Excellent references. Slightly reserved in communication. Holds the Certified International Trade Professional, CITP, designation. Who do you choose? If you're thinking about the long-term compliance demands, the need to avoid fines, and the complexity of international regulations, the answer is obvious, Candidate B. That certification tells you they understand international trade laws, import-export procedures, risk management, and global supply chain strategy. It tells you they've studied a body of knowledge that's relevant today. Even if Candidate A is a better talker, Candidate B is the safer, more strategic choice. The certification is what provides proof, and in compliance-heavy roles, proof wins. This isn't just an isolated example. The same logic applies across industries. In IT, a Certified Information Systems Security Professional, CISSP, versus someone who claims to understand cybersecurity. In finance, a Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA, versus someone who just says I know investments. In HR, a SHRMCP Certified Recruiter versus someone with informal hiring experience. Certification doesn't just help you get hired. It helps people choose you over and over again. The long-term value, career growth, salary, and opportunity. Let's now look beyond hiring and talk about how certification transforms your career. Promotions and internal advancement. Many companies have built-in pathways for promotion tied to certification. In project management, for instance, a team lead might be required to get PMP certified before advancing to a senior project role. In safety and engineering roles, NEBOSH or OSHA certificates are often mandatory for moving into management. Salary negotiation power. Data consistently shows that certified professionals earn more. Why? Because companies are willing to pay more for people who bring less risk, more skill, and industry recognition. A certified IT technician earns 20 to 25% more, on average, than a non-certified peer in the same role. Access to better clients and projects. In consulting, freelancing, and entrepreneurship, certification opens doors. Clients trust you faster. Projects become larger. RFPs, request for proposals, often list certification as a prerequisite. It's not a nice-to-have, it's a must-have. Global mobility. Planning to move abroad or work for a multinational? Certifications like PMP, NEBOSH, IELTS for educators, or CPA for accountants are globally recognized. They're the keys that unlock cross-border career moves without needing to start from scratch. Network access. Many certifying bodies offer more than a certificate. They give you access to exclusive events, communities, forums, and continuing education. Networking through these channels leads to partnerships, mentorships, and career growth. Confidence and identity. Last but not least, certification changes how you see yourself. It reinforces your professional identity. It gives you confidence in client meetings, decision-making, and leadership situations. That confidence influences how others treat you. Closing thoughts. So, let's revisit the myth: certification is just a piece of paper. After today's deep dive, we know it's not. It's a bridge to higher credibility, stronger confidence, and real opportunity. Whether you're job hunting, eyeing a promotion, or simply looking to stand out in a crowded field, a well-chosen certification is a career investment with real returns. In the next episode of Certified to Succeed, we'll take things a step further by discussing why employers themselves benefit from having certified teams, and how smart companies are building certification into their talent strategies. Thank you for listening. If you found value in this episode, share it with a colleague who's considering certification, or maybe someone who thinks it's just a piece of paper. Stay committed. Stay certified. Stay ahead. This is Quadra Plus exclusive, Certified to Succeed.